Hey everybody, I'm Adam Black from Country's Family Reunion. You know, for almost 30 years, we've been gathering country legends together to tell stories and sing their songs, and we realized, wow, 30 years is a long time. Let's share some of those 30 years with you. So we've created these special series, and in fact, we are now on the third episode of God Bless America Again. So if you missed the first two episodes, make sure and check those out up here. You can click, see where my finger's pointing? You can click and go to either of those episodes, then come back to this one. They're all great, but this one has some amazing people in it. This particular episode features Bill Anderson, the Gatlin Brothers, and a very touching song from Jan Howard. And we're gonna have Aaron Tippin sing one of the most patriotic songs in existence today. You're gonna love every second. Don't go anywhere.
I told Larry Gatlin a second ago, I said, I'm nervous. What did you say?
I said, you're excited.
What's the difference in being nervous and being excited?
Nervous means you're going to screw up. Excited means you're going to do real good.
I'm nervous.
And then I said, he said, I've screwed up a lot of times. I said, I've been watching you perform for 40 years, and if you screwed up, you sure covered it like a pro, because nobody ever knew it.
That's because you couldn't hear me to start with.
Well, I guess that's true. If you'd have sung any louder, we'd all known. See,
I tried singing louder. I tried singing louder one time, ruined my career. You said something a while ago about truth in songs. Say that again about songs being true or writers telling the truth.
Well, I heard a quote years ago that when Voltaire came back into Paris in the middle of the Revolution, he didn't say, he said, I don't care who writes your laws, take me to those who write your songs. So I just kind of fidgeted around on that a little bit.
What label was he on?
It was Billy Dick Voltaire and the Heartthrobs. We're over there with old Fred Foster at Monument, I think. No, but you know, I'm a history buff, and I love stuff like that.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because this song that I'm about to share with you is a true story. I read about this man in a newspaper article in his hometown. He's from a little town called Millington, Tennessee, down near Memphis. He just turned 90 years old, and he's a World War II veteran. And when I read his story, I said, this is a song waiting to be written. And I got with a great writer from down in Alabama named Walt Aldridge. And Walt and I sat down with the newspaper article and some pictures that were provided by the family. And we tried to tell the story of this man. His name is Ed Haley, 90 years young. It's about Ed Haley and his old army hat. I hope you'll listen to the words. He came home to Tennessee, a young man at the end of 45. Only one of 7 men in his platoon had made it back alive. He must have seen some tough times, but he never talked too much about all that. Put his pictures and his memories in the cedar chest, everything but his old army hat. By the time I graduated, the winds of change had blown across our land. They were burning flags and draft cards when they bothered to take some kind of stand. And they all looked at Grandpa like he was some old relic from the past, 'cause he never left the house lest he was wearing that funny-looking, worn-out army hat. Every eye was on him anytime he went anywhere. They whispered and they pointed, but you could tell my grandpa didn't care. I ain't wearing this for them, he said. It's a whole lot more than that. For my buddies who gave everything, the least that I can do is keep on wearing this old army hat. said he'd seen it on the news on his TV. They've opened up a monument to World War II in Washington, D.C. I ain't getting any younger, and I wish someone would take me to see that. I couldn't help but think they're gonna laugh at you up there if you show up in that silly army hat. Two strangers both saluted when Grandpa walked up to the monument. One said, "Thank you, soldier, for a job well done." The other said, "Amen." And a young boy said, "Sir, my daddy went to war and never made it back. Would you take a picture standing here beside me? And maybe let me wear your army hat." Every eye was on him, and there was not a dry one in the crowd. They whispered and they pointed, and Grandpa stood up extra tall and proud. He said, "Son, just keep it," when the young boy tried his best to give it back. "You're a brave little soldier, son, and every soldier needs his very own authentic army hat. For your daddy who gave everything, the least that I can do is pass on this old worn-out army hat." Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
That was really awful right there.
Well, I was nervous. Now I'm excited.
Yeah, okay. That's fabulous, Bill.
Thank you.
What a
Well,
great
it's
song.
such a powerful story. If Larry Gatlin or the people in this room that are writers, if you'd seen that story, you would have known it needed to be set to music and told as a story that's really happened. They've got pictures. His family's got some pictures of him standing in front of the monument with this little boy, and the little boy's got that army hat on.
Oh, God picked the right one to write it, Bill.
Thank you.
Great job, Bill.
Thank you. I know you guys, Lee Greenwood and Larry Gatlin, y'all move in big circles and you sing at places like the White House and in front of all those presidents. What a wonderful story that was that you
No more
shared.
important than right here.
I got a letter right after I wrote the Army hat. I did it one night on the Opry just to kind of see what would happen. And someone in Senator Bob Dole's office in Washington was listening. Now, Senator Dole was the one behind the World War II monument. And he went into the Opry archives the next week and pulled out my singing it on the Opry, and he took it in and he played it for Senator Dole. And Senator Dole wrote me the most beautiful, wonderful letter.
That's great.
And signed it, and he can't write very well, but it was his authentic signature about that song and invited me and I'm sure all of us to come see the World War II memorial.
Have you seen the World War II monument?
No, I haven't yet.
I have.
It's powerful.
It is powerful.
It's magnificent.
It's awesome.
You know, he was wounded. Remember, he always, his right arm, he always carried a pen with him so somebody wouldn't want to shake his right hand because he was so wounded in World War II that, you know, that arm didn't work very well, so.
I just sang his 90th birthday party in the Capitol,
Really?
Wow.
and he called me back personally to thank me. What a nice man.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
very
he
nice.
is, absolutely. And now, he's not currently still a senator, is he?
No, no.
I didn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
He says he gets up in the morning, goes to the Capitol, comes back at night, and gets nothing done.
We're like everybody else up there these days.
Go watch
What's
you.
so unusual about that? Yeah.
I know you guys have heard about what they're doing. They're raising money and taking the World War II vets up, calling the honor flights.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most powerful and important things that's been done.
Yeah.
I have had the honor of performing for a couple of groups. A couple of years ago, we did a show for a group of 250 World War II vets that were getting ready to leave to go on an honor flight. They were in Abilene, Texas. And I was asked to do the national anthem and to do a program. And I got up on stage. I've done the national anthem 100 times. And they stood up, and I got through the first, "Oh, say, can you?" And they all started singing back to
That'll
me.
wipe you out.
And I just dropped my microphone because that was their song. You know, it was the most moving experience I think I've ever been a part of. It was incredible.
That's great.
I think this trip that he took, I don't know how long the honor flights have been going on, but there either wasn't one or they hadn't started them and he wasn't able to get on it. So
Right.
his son
Wow.
actually took him
Yeah.
up there. He told me a couple other things. He said it was amazing. He said they got out of the cab. They took a cab into downtown Washington from the airport. And Mr. Haley was wearing his Army hat. And he said when the guy came out to open the door of the cab, the bellman at the hotel, he said he stepped back and he saluted. And when he walked through the lobby of the hotel, said people were saluting him, saying, "Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, soldier."
amazing.
I've
This
seen
was to
people do my daddy-in-law
a
that
90-year-old
way.
man.
I've seen people do my daddy-in-law that way. He was not in good enough health to get to go to Washington by car or plane or anyway, so he didn't get to see it. And he didn't talk much about his experience. We know that he was a paratrooper, jumped out of a plane in France and broke his back. And he was hidden by I think the French resistance hid him.
French underground.
Until the Americans could come and get him. And then he spent the rest of the war in hospitals and rehab. But he didn't talk a lot about it over all the years. We don't know everything.
Well, that's what they said about Mr. Haley. Said he put his pictures away and, you know, everything but his hat, and he didn't talk about it, but he never took the hat
That said it
off.
all.
Yeah.
That hat
Yeah.
said it all.
Well, an awful lot of our viewing audience are people that we owe a lot to because they have fought in the wars and carried our flag to a lot of foreign places, and we owe them a lot.
You know, I just thought of something. I went to Normandy one time, many years ago. I got a song, "If You Would Honor Me by Writing This Song With Me." I saw an old gentleman. We're standing up there, you know, right where the cemetery is at Normandy. And there's a viewing area, kind of like a little bridge and some steps there and a little platform that you can look out on Omaha Beach, you know, where they stormed it, you know, on D-Day. And I was standing there, Janice and I were watching it, and all of a sudden this old gentleman came up and had his battalion cap on. He looked at it a little bit differently than I did.
Oh, yeah.
He'd been there.
Yeah.
And he was looking out over that beach, and I just stepped back away and let that old gentleman stay there and took that battalion cap off and started weeping. Let's write that. We can make up what we don't know. That's our job, right? Let's write that song.
That's powerful.
Okay.
Thank you. Speaking of great patriotic songs, Aaron Tippin's been awful quiet back there today. That's not like you. We don't scare you or nothing, do we?
Just trying to behave. I
I don't think anything scares him.
tried to dress fancy today, but I see Rhonda decided she'd wear the red dress, so I didn't wear mine.
You are a pilot. You fly. You fly like regular planes. You fly helicopters. Did you learn that in the military? Were you in the military?
No, you know, I'm a pilgrim. I was never in the military, and I just grew up around airplanes. I soloed on my 16th birthday. By the time I was 18, I was multi-engine commercial instrument rated, and I was a helicopter pilot, and I'm also a certified aircraft mechanic. So
Awesome.
Good Lord.
my daddy was sure wasn't happy the day I told him I was going to start picking a guitar and singing for a living. He spent a lot of time teaching me to fly.
Well, now, don't you have a son that's kind of following in your
I
footsteps?
do. I have a son that'll turn 16, and he will solo on his 16th birthday. I'm very sure.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
That's cool.
They're both the 16-year-old and the 12-year-old. Pretty good little old pilots. Pretty good.
That's good.
What do you mean, pretty good little old pilots? Pretty good little old pilots?
Yeah, you don't.
Well, I mean little old as in small.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to fly with no pretty good pilot, do you?
I want him to be a flying son of a gun, boy.
If I can do it, it ain't that hard.
Well, having raised one, because that's what my
That's
son
right.
does.
Your boy flies.
He knew from the time he was 3 years old, that's what he wanted to do. He just had that tunnel vision. I'd take him on the road with me, and I'd think, I'm going to expose him to the music. Well, in those days, I flew to a lot of my shows. He didn't care a thing about the music. He wanted to over to fly. One day, we were sitting up in first class in the first part of the plane, and I could tell he was very unhappy. I said, what's wrong? You got a nice, big, comfortable seat? He said, I want to go back there behind the wing so I can see the flaps go up and down.
Good Lord.
I went back there and asked him, I said, would you mind moving up to first class? My son wants to sit back there and watch the wings go up and down. And so we did. Nice guitar for the occasion.
Thanks, buddy. The folks at Ovation, back when I started going down range and visiting the troops, this was kind of something they made up for me. And so
You've done a lot of that in your career, haven't you?
well,
Performing for
I've
the
done it. Well,
troops.
I don't know. I guess I started my career with Bob Hope, Christmas of 1990. But Lee Greenwood had already been everywhere I'd been twice by that time. And, among everybody else here that that has served, I know Darryl and Mark are both, and a lot of folks have been around.
Well, this is a great song. Did you write this song?
I did.
This is a great, great song called Where the Stars and Stripes and the Eagle Flies. Yeah.
All right.
Aaron Tippin.
Well, if you ask me where I come from, here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's dear grace in an extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. It's a big old land with countless dreams. Happiness ain't out of reach. Hard work pays off the way it should. This ain't enough to know that we've got it good. With the stars and the stripes and the eagle fly. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. And there's a bell that still echoes the price that it costs to be free. I pledge allegiance to this flag. If that bothers you, well, that's too bad. If you got pride and you're proud you do, hey, we could use some more like me and you. Where the stars and the stripes and the eagle fly. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. There's a bell that still place on earth, but it's the only place that I prefer. To love my wife and raise my kids, yeah, the same way that my daddy did. Where the stars and the stripes and the eagle fly. Where the stars and the stripes and the eagle
Tippin. That's incredible. Had you pretty good little harmony group there helping
You know,
you.
that's kind of funny now. Here I got Darren Benson. You guys, James, come out here fine enough to sing along with him. And me thinking the whole time, you know, I won't even qualify as their bus driver.
You could be their pilot.
That's not true.
And another awesome thing, and I want to bring this to everybody's attention. Lee Greenwood, good friend of mine, has probably honored me more than anybody I know in this business. He sings his song, but he also sings Where the Stars and Stripes and the Eagle Fly in his show every night. Thank you very much, but you don't know how you humble me.
So that explains. I looked over there and saw him singing, and I thought,
I almost said, get up here.
Well, you had enough singers. You know. You got two more singers in the band.
Quite like you, buddy, I can tell you that.
Great job, Aaron.
that's great, Aaron. Thank you for being here today. Aaron Tippin. Yeah.
Wow, what a song from Aaron Tippin, Where the Stars and the Stripes and the Eagles Fly. If you liked that, and you like other patriotic music, you're going to love what I'm going to tell you next. This special presentation of God Bless America Again is brought to you by Easy Play Music. We've partnered with Easy Play Music to create these music sticks on a USB and a little speaker that goes with it, and it's the easiest thing in the world. You just plug the USB into the speaker and it starts playing right away. We thought, let's make it as simple as possible to get the music you want. No cloud to deal with, no subscriptions to deal with, just Easy Play Music and Easy Play Music sticks. So you can find it all at easyplaymusic.com/CFR. Check it out. All right, let's get back to the music. Coming up, Tia Goins sings a gospel classic.
Tia Goins, you've been with us before. Great to have you on this show. You beautify things.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, are you going to do a patriotic type song, or is yours just more of a gospel song?
Well, mine is a gospel song. This is my favorite gospel song of all time. Always has been, but I've never sang it. I have been in church since before I can even remember, and somehow I've never sang this song, and it's my favorite hymn, and I think that it's fitting for what we're talking about today.
Amen.
Because the song is Great Is Thy Faithfulness. And I think it's easy to sing that song when everything's going your way and things are good and great is thy faithfulness, thanks God. But you know, when things get tough and things get hard, and whether we're talking about life or in our country, it's hard to say, great is thy faithfulness, you know, I know you're still there, God, and we're hanging on for you, you know. And so I felt like that was a good song for the day.
Amen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fits great. How about singing
All
it
right.
for us? It's Tia Goins.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. side. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Tia Goins. Wow. Yes, it has been sung.
If our ushers would come forward.
Wow, great job. Beautiful.
Of all the songs that have been and will be sung here today, there's none that quite come to it from the perspective that this next song does, by Jan Howard. She has lived this song. She wrote and recorded it in days when you and I were traveling on the road together, and I know what the song means to you. I know what it did to you at a certain point in time. The song, of course, is called My Son, that you wrote for your son.
There was a story behind this. Of course, there has to be, because it was written as a letter. Jimmy, my oldest son, was drafted. He was in his second year at MTSU. And so he came home sometimes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or whatever. I didn't know why we had an apartment up there, but I was glad he did. But he came home one day and went out to the mailbox and brought in the mail. He said, "Guess what? I got a letter from the president." And it was his draft notice. And to make a long story short, he went in and he passed, and they said he wouldn't pass, and so they sent him home. And but he had to go back the next morning just to check out some papers and all this and that. And he called me at 9 o'clock and said, "Guess what? I'm on my way to Fort Knox, Kentucky."
Jeez.
And so he did, and of course I had a fit, and he said, "No, I'm no better than anybody else." And he said, "If I go, I'll go." And he said, "I'll be fine." And he did, and that was August, it was June, 1st of June, anyway. He went and he did his basic and everything, and he came home for 21 days. I was doing the Ralph Emery show, and Ralph wanted me to go over to their house for dinner, and I said, "Well, I have to call home, check on David," was my youngest son. And David said, "Mom, you're not going to like this. Jimmy called, and he's going to Vietnam, and they're not going to let him come home." I said, no, that ain't going to happen. And no, Ralph got on the phone, and he said, that was when Richard Fulton was congressman. And he found Richard Fulton in a restaurant in Washington, D.C. at 9 o'clock that night. And I was at home in the midst of a nervous breakdown, and I thought I was. And the phone rang and said, "Miss Howard, stay by your phone, and your son will call you." And so I stayed by my phone. And at 9 o'clock next morning, Jimmy called. Well, first they called from the Secretary of the Army's office and said, stay by your phone, your son will call you. And so a short time later, the phone rang, and it was Jimmy. He said, Mom, what did you do? He said, we were on bivouac, and he said, my sergeant came to me and said, Howard, go call your mother and then be prepared to work your ass off. He said, but I'm coming home. And so they let him come home for 21 days. And before he went to Vietnam. And this was the middle of June. And he came to me the night before. And I have to tell you this. I don't know whether he would like me telling it or not, but the night before, I couldn't sleep. And I was thinking he was leaving the next day, or the next night, really. But he came down and knocked on my bedroom door. He says, I need to talk. And I said, yeah, we do. And he came down and he knelt beside my bed. And he said, Mom, I'm not a coward, but I'm scared. I said, the bravest men are scared. And he said, yeah. He said, I believe, he said, I don't know where Vietnam is. I've never heard of it or whatever, until, recently they've been training for this. He said, all I want to do, he says, go to school and go to church, be with my friends and my family. He said, but I guess if everybody did that, this country would be in trouble, right? And I said, yeah, it would be. He said, so if I have to give 1 year of my life to protect my friends and my family in the way we believe, I'll gladly do so. And he said, I'll be fine. And so we kissed goodnight, and he left the next night at 3 a.m. in the morning, American's flight 315. And at 3 days later, on the 23rd of June, my phone rang at midnight. He was on his way. And he called, they said, we have a collect call from Guam. I said, yes, I'll take it. And Jimmy was him, and he said, Mom, I know it's a long ways and a lot of money, but I just had to hear your voice one more time. And he said, I love you, and we hung up. And he went to Vietnam. So he was doing what he believed in. And I believed in him. And I believe in this country. And I believe in our military. And I'm behind them 1,000%.
God bless you.
And this scarf you can't buy this scarf. It was given to me by the 101st Airborne. And this is the 101st patch. On the, that was June. When we were on the road all the time, Jimmy went in, he was drafted, he went in November. And when I was gone, I would always call home and I'd always ask, okay, is there anything else I need to know, before I hang up? And my middle son got on the phone, Carter, and he said, oh yeah, I joined the Army today.
Oh.
I said, you did what? He said, yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. So he went to Fort Campbell. That's just his patch. And then when he came home, he went to Fort Benning. He was 101st, everything. And he came home on leave before he was going to Vietnam because he volunteered. Everything about this was, he said, if Jimmy's going, I'm going. So when Jimmy was drafted, so he volunteered. And so he came home, and I was sitting at the desk one day, and I was writing a letter to Jimmy. and it wasn't coming out. It just, the words came. And I showed it to Corky. I call him Corky. His real name's Carter. We won't tell him that. And I showed it to him, and he said, Mom, you need to put that to music. Jimmy would love that. And then I read it to Bill, and he said the same thing, just about. And so this is the letter I wrote to Jimmy. It's just called My Son. If I can get through this, I will.
My son, I pray that you come home to me. My son, my son. It seems only yesterday. The most important thing on your mind was whether you make the baseball team or get the school jacket like all the other kids had. And I remember you were so excited to get your very first rod and reel for that big fishing trip, just you and your dad. And I remember wiping the tears away when you hurt yourself on your sled. In those days, it seemed the house was always filled with laughter and joy, filled with your friends, and they were such good boys. I remember the day that you walked down the aisle to receive that all-important diploma. I was so proud, but I couldn't believe that tall young man was actually my son, my wonderful son. And I remember the little girl was already around, kind of tagging after you. She's still around, but who knows? Maybe someday. And then came the call that I guess we knew would come someday. But it came so quick, and now you're so very far away. In a land that until a short time ago I didn't even know was there. I know the time will pass, and you'll be home again. But until that time, my darling, take care. Take special care. My son, I pray that you come home to me. My son, my son. Thank you.
Jan Howard, you got through it beautifully.
Yes, you did.
I thought at that time, and I seem to remember us talking about this.
Yeah, we did.
Wasn't there some kind of a law that the same family could not have two soldiers on foreign soil?
Again, it was no, they couldn't unless one volunteered.
Yeah, couldn't draft two.
Oh, wow. So when Jimmy was sent to Vietnam, Corky volunteered. So if Jimmy's going, I'm going. Well, he went on exactly 2 months to the day, to the minute when they left. Same flights, everything. Jimmy went June 23rd, Corky went August 23rd. And he was a forward observer, paratrooper, forward observer. They were 40 miles apart, and they never got to see each other. But Corky was there to bring Jimmy home. And he came home on October 30th. But I'm proud of both of them.
Proud of you, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
We're so proud of you.
again, I could have gotten them out. I mean, I could have prevented them going. But Jimmy said, no, I'm no better than anybody else, and I'm going, I've got this drafted. And Corky would have hated me if I had kept him from going. And he was there. It was meant to be, I guess, because he was there to bring Jimmy home. And he does a lot now. He finished out his tours, and he does a lot now for Wounded Warriors and a lot of things like that.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, love.
I know it's not easy. The title of John Conley's song fits so well.
Perfectly.
With what Jan was talking about, because here are her sons on the other side of the world.
Right.
Fighting for us. And you have a song called They Also Serve.
Right.
Yeah.
About the families. Talk about that.
Well, there have been, and rightly so, so many songs about the people, our troops who actually do the sacrificing and the serving and the putting themselves in harm's way. And there can't be too many of those, but there hasn't been enough recognition for people like Jan, the Gold Star families among us, and other families whose sons and daughters and husbands and wives serve us, and what they go through. I'm sure, well, Jan already talked about the angst that took over her life through the process of them enlisting, being drafted, and going over. And I was in the process of putting together a gospel CD a few years ago, and we were at the height of the Iraq War at that point. My son was getting ready to go into the Marine Corps, and I just put out the word that while we were looking for gospel songs, I would also entertain anything patriotic that somebody might have. And I was shown this song, They Also Serve, and I didn't want to wait for the next project, so I just included this on our gospel CD. And as I was recording it, my son was holding up his hand and enlisting in the Marine Corps on his way to basic training. By the time we finished the song and got the video, in fact, we had to wait for him to graduate from boot camp to include his picture in the video that we did for it. And of course, he ended up going to Fallujah twice, to Fallujah, Iraq. So our family related to exactly what this song talks about.
And I love this song. This is great.
Thank you, Jan.
Every time John does this at the Opry, or most times, they will play little excerpts on the big screen behind him from the video. And it never fails to just absolutely tear the crowd apart at the Grand Ole Opry. And I'm sure
it's so
in
true.
the other places where you do it, John.
Well, I can tell you that, of course, when we went to my son's graduation from boot camp over at Camp Lejeune, or Paris Island, and there was a lump in my throat the whole time, all through the ceremonies when they were on the parade ground. And that lump grew to phenomenal heights when they played Lee's song, God Bless the USA, as the wrap-up to that graduation ceremony. And it still puts a lump in my throat.
Yeah.
This is They Also Serve.
She kisses little Katie's forehead as she turns out the light. A night ahead in a lonely bed, she's a military wife. She pushes back a tear, then sinks into a chair. Her mind says that's the way it is. Her heart says it ain't fair. She knows the price of sacrifice, but she's proud to take her place in that unsung corps of warriors who stay behind and wait. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the foe to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait. climbs on the school bus, marches bravely to his seat. His dad's not home to say so long like his friends along the street. He has to be the man at home as long as daddy's gone. He promised him the day he left that he'd be brave and strong. So he tells his little sister, don't you worry, Daddy's coming home. He's 8 years old, he's a soldier's son, and he can hold his own. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait. Mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, they don't wear a uniform or carry a gun, but they're still in the war. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait.
God bless you, Dan.
John Conley.
Bill, can I tell you a story?
Please.
Well, I don't know that I should follow this. That's great, John. I knew the draft called me and said, Brown, you're next on our list. And I said, well, go ahead and take me. So I did, and then I saw Elvis about 3 days later, and I said, Elvis, I'm going to the service. Why don't you go too? So he volunteered for the draft. Colonel Tom Parker hated me for the day he died because he said, you cost me many millions of dollars. But both of us went to Germany. I got to come home, but Elvis stayed over there. But I got to.
Are you saying I thought he was drafted?
Well, he volunteered for the draft. That's the same thing as being drafted.
Wasn't any choice about volunteering for it.
Not after he volunteered. They went. You just volunteered for the draft. You knew you was going to be drafted. This was right before, because if he'd have waited until he would have got drafted, then he would have not gone, because the draft ended. He would not have had to go to the service at all. Yeah. But I didn't know that. I just went to him and I said, hey, why don't you come on? We'll just go together. But he went one place one way and I went another. And Colonel Tom Parker, he saw me one day. He said, Brown, I hate you. I ain't gonna say what he said. But anyway. But no, we were fortunate. I didn't have to go to Vietnam and Korea and all, but I enjoyed the service. The service is great. It's a great place to be. It wasn't a good place for me at the time, or Elvis, either one. Although he did get married over there, didn't he? There's some things I think I'm going to stop right there.
Well, thank you for sharing that. There's so many.
He did a Jimmy Sing.
So many different kinds of songs about the military. We've heard My Son. We heard about the old hat, and we heard they also serve. David Ball, and by the way, I sure am glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Bill. Thank y'all. Thank you. You got a great thing going here. It's a great presence. It's a pleasure to be here.
Don't let this be the only time you visit with us.
Okay.
Because you're a talented gentleman. Talk about the song that you have, because it's a totally different perspective from any other.
Well, I remember the first time I heard this. It's written by Wood Newton and Tom Shepard, and Wood Newton is a veteran songwriter and great songwriter, and he had a cousin that did a couple of tours of duty in Vietnam, and the day he got back, he was killed in a car wreck in Arkansas. And I think that was kind of the beginning of what was in Wood's heart when they sat down and wrote this song, but it turned out to be a gentle kind of healing song, tribute to those guys that came out of Vietnam, because you know, that was a tough time, and polarized. People had, you know, there was a lot of emotions about that song, and I just liked the way that that song kind of subtly paid tribute to the guys that came out of Vietnam without. I just thought it was a great song, and we'd play that song, and then, you know, the guys that were veterans of that war, you know, would come through and just shake my hand, tell me what it meant. So you know, it was great to hear from those people.
Well, you know, this past year, the CMA's Song of the Year was a little similar to this. It was a story about the
I Drive Your Truck.
I Drive Your Truck. Yeah, the father was based on.
Oh, that's a
the father.
newer song.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a newer song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's newer than yours.
I
but
need to catch up, man.
Well, you don't have to catch up with anything. The writing with Private Malone is an absolutely incredible song.
Yes,
I think you need to come
Thank you.
sing it for us.
Thank you. Yeah.
David Ball.
Go do it. Go do it.
We heard from a lot of great people, but mostly we heard from people wanting to know where they could buy a Corvette for $1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's do the Riding with Private Malone. Sure.
Well, I was just out of the service, thumbing through the classifieds, when an ad that said old Chevy somehow caught my eye. The lady didn't know the year or even if it ran, but I had that $1,000 in my hand. It was way back in the corner of this old ramshackle barn, 30 years of dust and dirt on that green army tarp. And when I pulled the cover off, it took away my breath. What she called a Chevy was a '66 Corvette. And I felt a little guilty as I counted out the bills, but what a thrill I got when I sat behind the wheel. I opened up a glove box, and that's when I found the note. The date was 1966. This is what he wrote. He said, my name is Private Andrew Malone, and if you're reading this, then I didn't make it home. But for every dream they shatter, another one comes true. This car was once a dream of mine, now it belongs to you. And though you may take her and make her your own, you'll always be riding with Private Malone. Well, it didn't take me long at all, I had her running good. I love to hear those horses thunder underneath her hood. I had her shining like a diamond, and I'd put the rag top down, and all the pretty girls would stop and stare as I drove her through town. Yeah, the buttons on the radio didn't seem to work quite right, but it'd pick up that oldie show, especially late at night. And I'd get the feeling sometimes if I turned real quick I'd see a soldier riding shotgun in the seat right next to me. It was a young man named Private Andrew Malone, who fought for his country and never made it home. But for every dream that shatters, another one comes true. This car was once a dream of his back when it was new. And he told me to take her and make her my own. And I was proud to be riding with Private Malone. One night it was raining hard, I took the curb too fast. I still don't remember much about that fiery crash. Someone said they thought they saw a soldier pull me out. They didn't get his name, and I know without a doubt it was a young man named Private Andrew Malone, who fought for his country and never made it home. But for every dream they shattered, another one comes true. This car was once a dream of his back when it was new. And I know I wouldn't be here if he hadn't tagged along. Oh, that night I was riding with Private Malone. Oh, thank God I was riding with Private Malone. Private Malone. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I love a good country music story song, and Riding with Private Malone by David Ball is just what the doctor ordered. If you're enjoying this presentation of God Bless America again, do us a favor. Why not like and subscribe to the Country's Family Reunion YouTube channel? We post new stories and songs every single day, and it's all stuff like this. We've got over 30 years of it. You're going to love it. And now, back to our special episode of God Bless America again. This is Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers.
When you talk about the Gatlins, you usually Larry is the one that answers the questions. Rudy
I have
just
no
got
problem
here.
with that.
You said you were in Dallas, Texas this morning?
I was. Had a charity function this morning for the Bridge, our homeless shelter there in Dallas, their annual breakfast, big fundraiser. And glad to be here, though, this afternoon and catch up on all this. This has been great.
Well, we missed you earlier, but we're glad you're here. You're sitting next to Brother Steve.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all, get your take on this, the trilogy that you're going to do, the American Trilogy. Who came up with the idea, the first idea to put these songs all together? Are you going to turn to Larry and make him?
Almost said it had to be Mickey, didn't it? It's Mickey. Yeah,
Mickey
did.
Mickey
Sure.
did. He had the original, and then Elvis cut it, right? And
Jim
Ed might have cut it. I don't know. Who all cut
Nearly
it?
1,000.
I mean, it's been,
I think
but Mickey was the first.
Mickey and Elvis had probably the two biggest.
Well, I'm just wondering the idea of combining these songs. That was Mickey's.
Mickey.
And then was he able then, and this is getting a little inside and technical, but was he able then to claim like an arrangement on these songs? Were they all public domain?
When a song, as I understand it, when a song is public domain, you can copyright the arrangement. Yeah. And I think that the rate is not as much as we'd make.
I think it's 50%.
I think it's half. Yeah. Well, since you've got 50 cents every nickel you ever made for the publishing company, if we were going to ask somebody, we ask him over there.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
Oh, we'll start.
No, I'm not going to tell you anything. I was hanging out with Mickey during the time he put this together, and I was very impressed by what he came up with. I mean, it was so unique, and he deserves every penny he got for that arrangement.
What inspired him to do it? Do you know?
Well, if you'll let us go sit over there on the stool and sing it, I'll tell you all about it.
No, if Ray was hanging out with him, I mean, you can sit down and try to write a song, but who's going to think to sit down and do something as creative as this?
He was a terrific writer. And,
well, he was.
Tom Jones cut a lot of his songs. What was the song I'm trying to think of?
I got those funny, familiar, forgotten feelings.
Yeah.
Just
all
checked
over my
in
mind.
to check what condition. Well, is it my turn?
Sorry.
Let me tune this thing. Nice hand from my two best friends in the world, Brother Steve and Brother Rudy. Well, I met Dottie West in 1971 in Vegas. We were working with Jimmy. I was working with Jimmy Dean. And, Dottie loves songs and loves songwriters. And she walked up to me one night in the dressing room. She said, "You look enough like Mickey Newberry. You've got to be able to write a song." And Glenn Campbell had just given her a couple of brand new Ovation guitars. Dottie had been out to do Glenn's show. And so I was sitting there picking around, and she heard a couple of things. So she said, the deal about Mickey, said, "Write me some songs, and I'll try to help you." So went back home to Houston. Janice and I packed up a U-Haul truck and pulled our little car behind it. Drove all day from Houston, got to Dottie's house about 7 o'clock at night. And Dottie had just got up from, being asleep all day, and she was cooking breakfast. Dorothy was cooking breakfast at 7 at night. Dottie said, "Oh, boy, let's go to Mickey's boat." And my wife, Janice, said, "I'm going to bed." So Dottie and I got in her car and went over to Hank and Jeannie's house and got in the ledge and got in Hank and Jeannie's boat and went across the lake to Mickey's boat. And it was Hank Cochran, Jeannie Seeley, Red Lane, Jack Green, and me. And we got there to Mickey's, to the houseboat, to the dock. And it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, but Mickey wasn't awake. So we sat there and had a few adult beverages and sang songs and stuff. So about 10:30 or 11, we see Mick get out of his boat, his houseboat, and started walking up there, and he had his guitar slung over his shoulder, had a cigarette in one hand, a cup of coffee in the other. And he came and got in Hank's boat, and he looked at me and said, "You do look like me." And then he sat down and he said, "Let me show y'all something I put together last night." Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Oh, I wish I was in Dixie, away, away, in Dixieland. I'll take my stand to live and die in Dixie. 'Cause Dixieland, that's where I was born. Early Lord, one frosty morning. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. You know your daddy born to die. Oh, my What about that band? Nick? That was a good one.
What about that band?
Thank you all.
That's incredible. Larry, do you think he had really written that the night before?
Well, that's what he said. Of course, if you knew Mick, Mickey never told a lie in his life. It was just the world according to Mickey. That was the truth. But I mean, I always assumed that he did, and it was a while before it was a big record for him. You know, he had maybe his biggest chart record, and then of course Elvis did it. But can you imagine somebody thinking of the most famous song of the Union, the most famous song of the Confederate Army, and the most famous song, you know, of the old Negro spirituals? So only Mickey, you know, would have done that. Of course, only Mickey would have said, well, his daddy was an honest man, just a red dirt Georgia farmer. His mama spent her whole life having kids and baling hay. I mean, only Mickey would say that. So he was, we all know, a genius. We love him and honor and revere his work. But I'll never forget that morning. Can you imagine, as a young guy who's written 8 songs and Dottie West brings you to town, to be ushered into the rarefied air of Hank Cochran, Jeannie Seeley, Red Lane, and Mickey Newberry the first 12 hours I was in this town. I'm the Lou Gehrig of country music. I feel like the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Well,
Thanks,
tell you,
Nick.
I tell you something. I told Bill earlier, the first time we ever walked in the Osprey with Dottie, you remember who was singing?
No.
Bill Anderson, right there.
Good Lord.
The first time we ever walked.
You came in anyway?
Yes, we
did. It was that Saturday matinee in August.
August, yeah.
Son, it was a little warm in there, if you know what I mean. Well, it was a great thrill. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
another
man.
hand,
That's
Brother
terrific,
Steve.
Larry and the Gatlins.
Hey, Bill, I just want to say, if there's ever any other better harmony singers than that right there, I've never seen it. No. Y'all are the best.
Coming from the great harmony singers,
They're awesome.
we appreciate it. Thank you all.
Coming from you, I know he appreciates that.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this presentation of God Bless America again as we celebrate 250 years of the United States being a country. If you liked what you saw, make sure and like and subscribe, and certainly enjoy our Country's Family Reunion YouTube channel every day as we post new songs all the time. If you like this, you're gonna love that. Thanks for watching.